Last Train, a short story by Alan Toner. The railway platform was deserted. After all, it was near midnight and the last train would be due any minute now. Now, if this had been the weekend, the station would have been full of merry drunken revellers. As it was, the platform had the usual quiet atmosphere of a typical Monday evening, as dead as a graveyard. This fact was immediately noticed by the young couple that had just walked onto the platform. "Christ, you could hear a pin drop down here," the man said, casting his blue eyes all around the dimly lit platform. He was around 25 with a shaven head, and his name was Barry. "I know," his pretty blonde girlfriend said. She was a couple of years younger than her lover, and her name was Paula. "It's a little creepy too," she shivered. Barry gave a short laugh. "Yeah, make a good setting for a horror movie. All we need now are a few rats running across the railway lines." "Oh, shut up," Paula snapped. She hated rats. The couple had been going out with each other for nearly a year now. They had met at the local disco. Never one prone to shyness with women, Barry had made the first move by asking her to dance. She'd accepted, and they'd been an item ever since. Since that first meeting at the disco, their relationship had gone from strength to strength. Barry glanced at his watch. "This train's taking its bloody time," he remarked. "I know," Paula nodded. "It's just gone 5 to 12. Should have been here at a quarter to. Hope they haven't taken one off." "Oh, don't say that, Barry. I don't fancy waiting around in this place for another half hour." Barry heaved a weary sigh. "You won't have to, love," he said. "If they really have cancelled this one, then that's it. There won't be any more trains after midnight. We'll just have to jump a taxi or something." Paula raised her eyes heavenwards. "Huh," she snorted. "More expense." "Give it a bit more time," Barry said. "It might just be a slight delay or something. Perhaps something has been thrown onto the track. You know what these stupid vandals are like." "Well, if that's the case, then they might have let people know by announcing it over the loudspeaker," Paula said. "I mean..." Then her words trailed off as, out of the periphery of her vision, she suddenly glimpsed something moving in the dark tunnel at the end of the rail track. "What's up?" Barry asked, frowning puzzledly at her. "I thought I just saw something moving inside the tunnel." She was now peering more closely into its dark, cavernous depths. A smirk slowly broke out across Barry's face as he followed Paula's intense gaze. "A rat, perhaps?" No, it wasn't a rat," Paul snapped. "It was... well, it looked bigger than that. As big as a human." Frowning, Barry focused his gaze more closely on the tunnel. And then his eyes widened in surprise as he too spotted something moving around in there. "Jesus, you're right. There is somebody in there. A railway maintenance worker, a night watchman." As the figure slowly walked into full view, became more distinct, the couple saw that it appeared to be that of a man, clad in a long, light-coloured overcoat, balding, with a toothbrush moustache. He looked to be around 55. He seemed to be carrying something in his hand that looked like a bar-shaped meter of some kind. As he approached the gawking couple, the man was constantly looking carefully all around him, as if appraising the layout of the station, or searching for something. Then, as his roving eyes fell on the couple, an amiable smile crossed his face. "Hi," he said. "Evening," Barry nodded. Paula said nothing, but just continued to stare at the man curiously. "Waiting for the last train, then?" the man asked, bushy eyebrows arching quizzically. "Yeah," Barry said. "What are you up to, then?" "Me?" the man shrugged. "Oh, I'm just doing a little investigation." "Oh, yeah," Barry said, eyeing the man up and down. "What sort of investigation?" "Oh, nothing special. Just a ghost investigation." The word ghost immediately caused both their mouths to drop over in surprise. "A ghost?" Paula gasped incredulously. "You mean this station is haunted?" The man finished the sentence for her. He nodded and smiled. "Yes, indeed it is." The couple helped the ghost hunter onto the railway platform. As he brushed tunnel dust from his overcoat, he noticed Barry staring at the bar-shaped meter he held. "What's that, then?" Barry asked, nodding at the instrument. "Oh, that's what you call an EMF meter, or an electromagnetic field meter. We paranormal investigators use them all the time whenever we visit supposedly haunted places." "What does it do?" Paula asked curiously. "It monitors fluctuations in temperatures. In other words, it tells you if any sudden drops in temperature, for example cold spots, can be attributed to paranormal activity." Recognition then dawned on Barry's face. "Oh yeah, that's right. I've seen instruments like that on Most Haunted." "Indeed," the ghost hunter smiled. There were a few seconds of silence between the trio until Barry finally spoke. "So then, this place haunted, is it?" The investigator nodded. "That's right." "Who's the ghost?" Paula asked. "Well, apparently it is said to be that of a young woman, and she wanders around dark railway tunnels," Barry said, unable to suppress a sceptical grin. The investigator's eyes darkened disapprovingly. "You may jeer, young man, but I assure you that this ghost is real. This poor tragic spirit is as real as you and I. The only difference being, of course, is that in her case she is a disembodied entity." Again, an awkward silence fell between them, until it was Paul at this time that furthered the conversation. "So, this ghost," she glanced around her uneasily, "did she die in this station?" The investigator nodded. "Yes, she did." Then he slowly shook his head in solemn reflection. "Terrible business it was. She was only 25 too, a young woman just like yourself, with a whole life ahead of her." Again he shook his head and heaved a heavy sigh. "Such a waste." "So how did she die?" Paula pressed. "Murdered," the investigator said grimly. Paula emitted a shocked gasp. "My God, how awful! Did they catch her killer?" Just as the investigator opened his mouth to speak, he was suddenly interrupted by the sound of an approaching train. "Looks like your train's arrived," the investigator said, nodding towards it as it pulled into the station. "Yeah, I suppose we'd better get a move on," Paula said. She flashed a farewell smile at the man before taking Barry's arm to walk with him to the nearest carriage. "Nice meeting you," she said. "Bye." The man smiled and gave a nod. "Take care." The carriage doors slid open and the couple prepared to step inside. Just before they did, the ghost hunter called out to them. "Oh, one word of advice." "Yeah?" Barry replied, glancing back over his shoulder at the man. "Watch out for a pale-faced woman wearing a smart skirt suit." As the train door slid shut behind them, the couple exchanged quizzical glances. What did he mean by that? His last words had seemed to carry a warning tone. Was he referring to the railway ghost? The railway compartment was empty. They sank down gratefully into their seats. The train slowly pulled out of the station and entered the tunnel in which the man had been conducting his investigation. His final words still ringing in her ears. Paul somehow could not bring herself to look out of the window for fear of seeing something something ghostly floating through the tunnel. But then a stern inner voice scolded her. "Come on, girl, get a grip of yourself. There are no such things as ghosts." In TV ghost shows, she had often heard psychics refer to residual energy when investigating a supposedly haunted location. This basically meant that the walls of such places could actually absorb events which had occurred months, often many years ago, freezing the spirits and happenings concerning a kind of time warp, and replaying them over and over again like some bizarre tape recorder. Was this what the tunnel ghost was? An image conjured up by the residual energy, absorbed by the tunnel walls? Whatever, Paula was just glad to be on that nice warm train and homeward bound, away from that cold, creepy old railway station. They'd only been in the railway compartment for 3 minutes when suddenly they heard a loud creak from behind them, the sound of a door opening, then a loud slam. Somebody apparently had just entered the compartment. They had company. They craned their heads around to see who it was, and their mouths dropped open to see that it was a young woman, a pale-faced woman around 25, wearing a smart skirt suit. As the woman slowly approached where they were sitting, Paula felt an ice cold chill down her spine as she recalled the ghost hunter's parting words. "Watch out for a pale-faced woman wearing a smart skirt suit." Oddly, even though there were plenty of other empty seats in the compartment, the woman sat down on the seat right opposite Paula and Barry. Her nylon-clad legs swished as she slowly crossed them. Barely acknowledging the couple, the woman produced a newspaper, smoothed it out on her lap, held it up, and began to read it. Then, as she opened it to peruse page 2, Paula's eyes fell on the main headline splashed across the front page. "Psychic investigator killed in railway tunnel." The body of a local psychic investigator was discovered early this morning in the tunnel Park Road railway station. Apparently he'd been hit by a train whilst investigating reports of a ghostly young woman said to be haunting the station. Paula could read no more. Not once her eyes fell on the small photo of the dead man whose face was disturbingly familiar. It was the face of the paranormal investigator with whom they had just been chatting on the railway platform. Paula felt dazed with shock and disbelief. Dear God, not just one ghost, dear, but two! Then, as if to confirm her worst fears, the door of the compartment creaked open again. A man entered, dressed in a long, light-coloured overcoat. His voice bore an unnerving ring of familiarity. "Ah, there you are! I've been looking all over for you." The woman slowly lowered the paper from her eye level. She smiled thinly at the man. "Well, now you found me," she said, her tone as eerie absence as the vacuous look in her eyes. As ghost met ghost, Paula and her boyfriend shivered as the compartment suddenly grew icy cold. Paula opened her mouth, a scream welling up inside her, and as the train sped on and on through the seemingly endless tunnel, she longed with all her heart for it to stop so that she could be out of this compartment and as far away from it as possible.